Could Caitlin Clark actually be coming back if the Indiana Fever make the finals?
There's a chance Caitlin Clark could return. There has been a lot of people raving about Caitlin Clark potentially, allegedly, making a comeback.
Caitlin Clark is something we've never seen before. All of these girls are only relevant, and some of them has elevated their game because now we watching them and talking about them. And that's all predicated to Caitlin Clark.
Breaking update. Caitlin Clark. Comeback rumors are heating up.
There has been a lot of people raving about Caitlin Clark potentially, allegedly, making a comeback this playoffs.
While the Indiana Fever just stunned the entire WNBA, fans are buzzing, the league is on edge, and the question is simple. Is Caitlin about to return?
Could Caitlin Clark actually be coming back if the Indiana Fever make the finals? That is something that I think a lot of people are wondering.
Drop a 100% for Caitlin in the comments if you believe she's ready. Let's start with the rumors that have completely taken over social media. Just days ago, leaked workout footage of Caitlin Clark showed her moving sharp, putting weight on her leg, and looking every bit like she's game ready.
New workout footage of Caitlin Clark has gone viral.
This immediately had fans questioning whether the so-called season-ending injury was exaggerated or if the Indiana Fever are deliberately holding her back to avoid further risk. Now, here's where things get interesting. Under the WNBA's current rules, once the playoffs begin, teams can't just sign replacements off the street. But there is a loophole. If a player is already under contract but listed as inactive, like Caitlin, they could be reactivated.
There's a little loophole in the WNBA rules to where Caitlin Clark could possibly come back.
According to this, there seems to be a legitimate pathway for Caitlin Clark to be activated. If true, I would be so happy. Under the current CBA, once a team submits its playoff roster at the end of the regular season, it's essentially locked for the postseason.
Now, the league's hardship and 7-day contract rules end when the regular season does, so a team can't sign a replacement player or pick someone up off the street once the playoffs begin. The only flexibility is if the team already has someone under contract but inactive, like Caitlin Clark, such as a maternity leave, suspension, or the injury list, in which case that player can be activated to replace an injured player. Otherwise, the team simply has to play shorthanded because there's no mechanism to add new players during the playoffs without a rare league-approved exception.
If another player is declared out.
The only flexibility is if the team already has someone under contract but inactive, such as maternity leave, suspension, or on the injury list, in which case the player can be activated to replace an injured player.
And with reports of Fever players like Dantas facing concussion protocol, that door might suddenly be open.
If Dantas is ruled out for the season, because we know, based off the last injury report, Dantas is out under concussion protocol. They are shorthanded. Now, it has not been ruled yet because Dantas is not officially been out. Now, if that is the case, that she cannot come back, trying to find the injury status report because she was ruled out. Now, if she can't come back, then you know what that means, guys? That means Caitlin Clark could come back.
The timing couldn't be more suspicious. 10 weeks for a groin injury? Many analysts say that's unusually long. Normally, recovery takes 4 to 5 weeks at most.
It's been about 10 weeks, bro. 10 weeks since we seen Caitlin Clark. Where have we ever seen in any professional sport a groin injury take 10 weeks to get over? Now, these are facts. A groin injury don't take 10 weeks to get better, guys. It just don't. The longest it can take is 4 to 5, maybe, based on the severity of the groin.
So when you see Clark in these leaked workouts looking fluid and explosive, it raises the question. Is she secretly ready for a comeback?
Workout footage that has been released, proven, and showing Caitlin Clark is not hurt. Allegedly. I don't want to sit up here and say that she ain't, and she possibly could be. I don't want to get in trouble. But allegedly, it looked like Caitlin Clark is 100% ready to go.
The Fever and the WNBA don't want to admit yet.
Could this mean Caitlin Clark getting ready to make a comeback? I'm just saying allegedly. Because earlier I said I didn't think she was going to come back. But after I heard what I heard earlier, I'm like, they might be cooking up something.
But while all eyes are on Caitlin Clark's potential return, the Indiana Fever themselves have already stunned the WNBA. Against all odds, this team has pushed deep into the playoffs without their superstar on the court. Remember, analysts didn't even expect the Fever to make the postseason, let alone contend with the league's best. Yet here they are, proving everyone wrong.
If they make the finals, I'd say they will be kicking themselves. I'd say this organization will be like, why did we not just do it? We just assumed we weren't making the finals. But at the end of the day, like, this is win or lose, make the finals or lose now. This has been one of the greatest seasons in history.
Players like Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, and Sophie Cunningham have stepped up in huge moments, keeping Indiana alive in games where people thought they had no chance. And it's not just about the box score. It's about the mentality. In pressers and post-games, the Fever repeatedly talk about sticking together, trusting each other, and fighting through adversity. That kind of resilience has carried them into a shocking run that has left the entire league reeling. But here's the twist. Even without Caitlin on the floor, her presence is still everywhere. Teammates openly credit the boost they get from her energy in practice, her leadership on the bench, and the massive wave of fan support she's brought into every arena.
That is this tweet from Caitlin Clark that has now racked up 8.6 million views. And here's what she had to say. She said, "Got fined $200 for this. Bench mob will be even more rowdy tomorrow."
Remember, this is a team that used to play in front of empty seats. Now, thanks to the Clark effect, they've had packed crowds, national coverage, and global fans, even people flying in from overseas just to see her. So yes, the Fever's playoff surge is incredible on its own. But it's also undeniable that Caitlin Clark's influence on and off the floor is fueling this stunning run. And that makes the comeback question even bigger. Could her return turn this Cinderella story into a championship reality?
Just over a week ago, the WNBA playoffs officially began.
Now let's get into the part that has the entire WNBA world divided. How much credit does Caitlin Clark really deserve for this Fever playoff run? On one side, you have fans and analysts arguing she hasn't played a single second in the postseason, so how can you give her the same recognition as the players actually on the court? They point to stars like Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston, who've been delivering clutch shots, tough defense, and logging heavy minutes when the season was on the line. These are the players grinding through the physical battles, and their supporters believe they should get 100% of the credit for shocking the league.
Because Cece went to the French Quarter in New Orleans and she picked up some pixie dust and she spilled that shit all over the court.
She can get some. There's nothing wrong with that. Y'all go too far when you try to. Y'all probably still think she got more impact than Kelsey.
But then, there's the other side of the debate. And this is where things get fiery. They argue that Caitlin Clark is still the reason the Fever are even in this position. Think about it. Before Caitlin, the Fever were struggling to draw fans, struggling to generate buzz, and struggling to find consistency. Since she arrived, everything changed. The arenas are packed, national TV can't get enough of the Fever, and her teammates are playing with a new level of confidence.
Caitlin Clark is something we've never seen before. All of these girls are only relevant, and some of them has elevated their game because now we watching them and talking about them. And that's all predicated to Caitlin Clark.
As one fan put it in a heated debate, there's no way Kelsey Mitchell is balling at this level without practicing and playing with Caitlin Clark every day. She raised their game. And it's not just about basketball skills. Clark's presence is psychological, emotional, and cultural. She's in practice every day, bringing energy, pushing teammates, and setting a standard. She's on the bench during games, locked in, celebrating, and keeping the vibe alive.
And Caitlin Clark commented and she said the refs couldn't stop us, so she was fined $200 for this.
She's also the face of the franchise, drawing sponsorships, endorsements, and global fan attention.
She thought it was very funny, and she wanted there to be some media attention around it.
Remember that clip where international fans flew 22 hours from Hong Kong just to watch her? That's not a normal rookie. That's a superstar whose impact stretches way beyond the box score. But here's where the controversy really heats up. If the Fever go all the way and win the WNBA championship, does Caitlin Clark get a ring and the credit?
If the Indiana Fever, for God's sake, win the WNBA championship, Caitlin Clark is going to be deemed a champion, right? They're going to have this over her head, simply very similar to the LeBron COVID ring. They're going to say Caitlin Clark's first ring is not going to be legit because she didn't even help the team win the ring.
Some say yes, because the Clark effect is what transformed this franchise into a contender. Others say absolutely not.
There was a section of the internet, and it feels like a small section, but there was a section of the internet saying, oh my gosh, Caitlin is so entitled. She thinks that she's better. She thinks that she can get away with anything. And
because she hasn't played in the playoffs. That tension is what's fueling the buzz online. Because if she does come back now, in the middle of all this chaos, it flips the entire debate upside down. So here's the bottom line. Whether you believe Caitlin deserves full credit or not, one thing is undeniable. Her influence is everywhere, from ticket sales to locker room energy to national coverage. And if she actually does step back on the court, even for a single playoff game, it would silence every critic and prove once again why the Clark effect is real.
Could Caitlin Clark actually be coming back if the Indiana Fever make the finals?
There's a chance Caitlin Clark could return. There has been a lot of people raving about Caitlin Clark potentially, allegedly, making a comeback.
Caitlin Clark is something we've never seen before. All of these girls are only relevant, and some of them has elevated their game because now we watching them and talking about them. And that's all predicated to Caitlin Clark.
There has been a lot of people raving about Caitlin Clark potentially, allegedly, making a comeback this playoffs.
Could Caitlin Clark actually be coming back if the Indiana Fever make the finals? That is something that I think a lot of people are wondering.
And there you have it. Caitlin Clark comeback rumors are at an all-time high, and the Indiana Fever have already shocked the entire WNBA with their playoff surge. But the million-dollar question remains. Will Clark actually return and rewrite history? Or will this season go down as one of the biggest what-ifs the league has ever seen? One thing's for sure. The Clark effect is undeniable, and the Fever's run has already changed the narrative of the WNBA forever. If you believe Caitlin's return is coming, hit that like button, drop a 100% in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed right here to WNBA Spark for non-stop updates, breaking news, and all the fire analysis on Caitlin Clark and the Fever. This is just the beginning of the shockwave. Stay tuned, because history is being written right in front of our eyes.